Let's talk failure and what you can learn from it. On this episode of the Girl Talk podcast, we're talking about what God can do even with our failures. What's your favorite failure? If you don't know the answer to that, make sure you stay tuned because we're going to talk about it and how God can use anything for His glory.
I also would say that if you are in the middle of a failure, maybe your life's fallen apart like mine, or you've had a moment like Tricia, or a disobedience like Kelly was mentioning, I want to say to you, because I think the tendency is to come across like we're some hyper spiritual because we can see those as positive things. Can I just talk real frankly with you right now? You're not going to see it right now. If you're in the middle of it, you're not going to see it right now, and that is okay. Mm-hmm. Like whatever you're going through, whatever you're facing, whatever failure it is, know that there is not like a checkbox for, okay, it's not like a 5-step process that you go through. Mm-hmm. You know, you're going to take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back, and then you're going to take 7 steps forward and 1 step back. I mean, you know, it's not something that you can put on a timeline. But over time, you can look back and see the things, because I think the tendency is to want to just learn the lesson when we're in the middle of it. And I don't think you can do that, or at least that's not how it's worked in my life.
Right.
Like there has to be some distance between the actual failure and the me seeing, because I'm slow. Mm-hmm. And it takes me a while to go, oh, that's where you were going with all that.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I have an image in my head that popped in when you were talking about that. It's like when you're in the ocean, you can't see the ocean, right? When you're in a pool, when you're in water, you can't see the body of water. You got to get up and out.
Right.
Then you can see the scope of whatever it is that you were in. But when you're in it, you're in it. And you got to ask God's help to get out of it. And then you can see the scope of it.
That is powerful. That's a powerful word picture of what it does feel like.
That.
Yeah. It's awesome.
It's also a good reminder, too, that God sees the long view of our lives. Mm-hmm. What we see is even the short view. And to be honest, there may be failures in your life that you'd never see on this side of heaven, the blessing that came from it. You don't, because you just don't understand. You never see the completion of what God's doing in that particular circumstance. But God sees it, and God knows. And I truly and fully trust that when we get to heaven, God's going to reveal that stuff to us and remind us of how He was with us through all the moments of our life. Every time we failed, every time we succeeded, every time we learned a lesson, all of that.
Every time we tried.
Yeah. Every time we tried, that's right.
Yeah.
That God was right there with us the entire time. And He sees the big plan. He's working all things out for our good, right? And for His glory.
And He's not surprised when we fail. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's not because of that very reason.
And it's not our job to understand how.
Yeah.
I think we live with this like, okay, one day we're going to, and when we get to heaven, we might. But it's not our job to understand how. He never said that.
That's true.
He just said, trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me. And that is the theme of my life. If I had to put a banner over my life, it's been like learning daily how to trust God with the little things, the big things, the in-between things, but just saying, I don't understand it, but I trust you. That's faith. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, if we want to go to Hebrews and look at the definition of faith, it has nothing to do with us knowing or projecting or understanding. It all has to do with us trusting. And one of the things I think we do as believers, we're like, well, we just need to know. We just need to know the 5-year plan. We need to know the 10-year plan. You know, none of that. God just says, nope, just trust me, just trust me, just trust me, just trust me. And every time you do that, I think you get a little bit closer to His heart. And He reveals a little bit more of the plan to you when you make the choice to trust Him, right?
True, yes.
So if you're sitting in the middle of a failure today, just know that it's probably going to take some time. But let's kind of build a framework for someone who's listening to this podcast today and says, okay, I'm right in the middle of it. I'm in the thick of it. What are some things that I can do to make sure that I am making this available for God to use? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think prayer. I mean, we talk about that a lot, but prayer really is the number one thing.
Yeah.
when you're going through a failure, a success, a challenge, a trial, whatever it is, taking it to him and helping him tell you how he's going to use it and to give you peace in the process. Because like you said, you may not be able to see on the outside of it right now.
Yeah.
You may just be able to see a little bit ahead, and God will reveal all those things to you in his own time.
Yeah.
But prayer's the place to start.